Hello and hi, welcome to Yedidia Shofet.net, and welcome to a special edition of Halacha and a special edition of Jewish Wisdom all in 1 week. I'll try to keep it short, but basically I'm going to ask you two questions and give you two answers on both of our two classes all in one because there was a little bit of a gap since the last one. The first part is in Halacha. There's a question over here that the guy is asking. He says, Rabbi, let me ask you this. Can we האם רק מעשה הרכבה אסור אבל אחרי שכבר התבצעה הרכבה מותר לקיים את העץ או שגם באופן זה קיום האיסור? He says hybrid fruits. What's a hybrid fruit? Well, very simple. You take, for instance, you take an orange and you take a strawberry seed, you put it together, what do you get? A blood orange. Or you add many other fruits together and you get all these different hybrid fruits. Can you do that according to Halacha? As some people say, can you play God? So the answer to that is, first of all, you're not really playing God. Second of all, the idea is over here, what's the problem? The problem is that it's how you're playing with nature. You're trying to say that the fruit that was made, all the different species, it's not enough. That rather that you have to go a little bit further in order to take what species are made, make them into a hybrid, make sure that you can make it better. So what are you doing? In essence, you're changing the actual original natural laws. Now, there is a problem, there isn't a problem with this. Because there isn't a problem, because according to Halacha, at the end of the day, if it's been done by, let's say, a worker or by somebody else in a non-Jewish group, where they're not commanded to make hybrids, and they're not commanded to not worry about grafting trees together, you can benefit from those fruits. Because at the end of the day, it's after the event, and it's what happened, and the fruit, it's rather to tell you that, look, you shouldn't do this because, you have your ways of keeping everything pure and natural in the way that it was intended to be made. But obviously, if it's done and it's changed around, you can always see that there's traces from the original fruit. And not only that, but you have to realize that that fruit will never turn back to the original fruit. You're not going to get a blood orange. I mean, you maybe get one, you never know. You might be able to get a genetic mess over there, but you're not going to get the original fruit again because it's a whole new breed. So because of that, the Chachamim and the Torah, it says that a person cannot plant such fruits, can't graft any fruits that are a hybrid, but you may actually eat from the produce and you can actually sell such produce. The next question, which is very similar to this, but it's in the way of Jewish wisdom of how we live our lives, is like this. Some people are under the impression that if a person is totally involved in Torah study, he is likely to be naive in his dealings with cunning and deceitful people. What is your comment on this? So have the whole idea of hybrids in thought, okay? Because that's having the best of many worlds. The question over here is basically, if you're going to be a scholar, you're going to be learning Torah all day, you're going to be learning Talmud, you're going to be learning Gemara, Halacha, whatever it is, and you're going to be trying to refine yourself, but you're not out in the business world wheeling and dealing and trying to understand every type of mindset and thought process of all the different types of schemers and scammers out there, as well as businessmen or any type of person out in the workforce. What happens over there? Well, you're going to say that the guy's going to be lacking because his mind is only in the books, nothing in the street. And ultimately, he's going to be deceived. People are going to cheat him. He's going to be very simple. They're going to take advantage of him, and that's it. Why should you subject yourself to such possible criminal acts? So the Rabbanim, especially the Vilna Gaon, says something very beautiful. He says like this: the wisdom of the Torah is not what you just said, that by learning you're actually going more simple and you're going more basic and you're going to more naive. It's actually the complete opposite. No, not that you're going to be a bigger scammer, but rather that when you learn the Torah, it sharpens the way you think. Your mind opens up to a whole new perspective for you to understand any situation. Meaning for some, if you try to exercise a muscle, what happens? If you exercise your muscle, your hand muscle, your arm muscle, you don't have to exercise it only to pick up a ball. You can exercise your arm muscle and you can pick up hundreds of other items. The idea is like this, that your thought process, it goes in a straight line, right? Now, when you learn and study and you really work on it and you build your brain power, your thinking power, your analyzation power, all of these things, what happens at the end of it? Your thought process is not just straight anymore. It takes an entire broad range. And by doing that, there's no way a person's going to be able to be deceived. There's no way a person's going to be known as simple. Because automatically he's thinking steps way ahead of you, even without him thinking about it, because that's how his mind is trained to think, because the Torah is so deep and it's so profound with the amount of knowledge a person has to continuously put in there, the amount of time he has to work and work. It's a mental exercise. It really works on a person, and by doing that he's able to be much more than just a street smart person. And I'll tell you, there's a beautiful example. If somebody wanted to learn how to detect counterfeit money, and they wanted to teach people how to detect counterfeit money, what do? They don't teach them the hundreds and thousands of ways that there's counterfeit money. This is a counterfeit bill, this is a counterfeit bill, this is a counterfeit bill. They don't show that. What do they show them? They show them all the authentic bills and show how a bill is authentic. Not how it's counterfeit, but how it's authentic. When you see when something is authentic, there's only a few points that you really have to understand and know and completely realize that that's real. Once it has those points, you don't have to worry about the hundreds of thousands of ways that people are trying to counterfeit money, because you already know the base. You already know the real deep inner thinkings, the real foundations. And when a person learns Torah, and it's not just a hybrid, not just that he's picking up from that, he's picking up from that, he's picking up from that, meaning from all different aspects, because he thinks that's the only way he's going to grow. If a person is a purist and realizes the taste of his learning, the taste of how he interacts with people, the way of how he's able to think in a whole new level because of the learning of the Torah, learning of the Gemara, the Talmud, all these things that needs intense concentration, intense studying ability. All of these things, we know what it does in the end of the day? It sharpens your mind. Look at our forefather Yaakov Avinu, Jacob. What happened with him? He had to deal with how many scumbags? A lot. And he would say that he's a man, Ish Ohel, he's a man of the tent. He was a person who was learning all the time. He was a simple person, but he managed to strategically take apart such huge, adversaries. So what happens at the end of the day? A person is able to learn Torah. He's able to be purist. The product of his learning will be known and will be seen, and it will be felt, because it gives a major impact in the type of person of who he is. And that's why you have nothing to worry about. When you see a person, he's learning, even though he looks simple, his mind is much sharper than what you really think it is. And ultimately, the same way works with a person who wants to learn. If you want to learn, take your time to learn. I promise you, you're not going to lose out on anything. In the morning, you say you might lose out on sleep, but at the end of it, and if you really learned hard, you'll say that was the best learning I had. When you sacrifice a little time for your learning, a little pleasure for your learning, a little whatever it is for your learning, you'll see how pure it is. That's why I can promise you this, that when you have something that is 100% pure, 100% real, you'll always see it's much more expensive. Why? Because the purest form is always the best. The original always tastes the best. And the original form of all thinking, the original form of all knowledge is the Torah. And Bezrat Hashem, may we learn more, we'll be able to grow from it. Now the Torah, there's a lot of things that we have to learn behind it, and that's why I'll continue to give these classes through the video. And I would love for you to spread these videos. Whoever sees this, share this, spread it to your friend, tell about someone, tell about the video to someone, and God willing, you can help me, give me your feedback. If you need anything, let me know. If you want to talk about certain topics, let me know, and I'll be more than willing to help out, to give the type of videos that will attract for you, for your friends, the audience that they need, that they want to hear about. And B'ezrat Hashem, I wish you a beautiful day.